Welcome to the Shuffle Curious podcast. I'm your host, Patty Lynch. Have you ever seen an amazing shuffler at a show or festival and wondered, how did they get started? How did they develop their skills? And who are they beyond the dance floor? Well, that's exactly what we're exploring in this show. We'll dive into the personal experiences of the dancers that make up our beloved community. We'll be learning more about who they are and what makes this dance so special to them. So, with that, let's jump into the show and let's get curious together. Hello, all my Shuffle Curiosities out there. This is episode 10 of the Shuffle Curious podcast. And in this episode, I had the pleasure of speaking with my friend, Ariah. And it was a lot of fun. In the first 0.5 seconds of the episode, you know that we're having fun. I'll let you guys figure that out for yourselves. But it was really cool to hear her story, upbringing as a creative and as a dancer. And she eventually found her way into the flow arts, being a hooper. And that's where she started to garner a lot of the inspiration to shuffle, just seeing other artists, shuffling and flowing. And it was almost her conduit to the shuffle community. And from that point on, she was doing a lot of spontaneous travel, trying to connect with the community on a more deeper level. And this led to many serendipitous moments that really allowed her to dive, headfirst into this dance and learning the craft. So what she's done for the community is actually pretty amazing. If you know Ariah, she's very unapologetic about being herself. And what that translates into is other people having permission to be themselves as well while they're in her presence. And there were a lot of moments in this conversation where Ariah was very vulnerable. And she talked about her personal struggles and how shuffling and the community around it has really grounded her through it all. So it was very special to hear her talk about those anecdotes. And I'm sure you guys will think it's special as well. So without further ado, I present to you my conversation with Ariah Dix. Ariah.
I was going to try to keep it in.
This is a perfect start.
Love it. Perfect. This is honestly.
I startled you. I was like, Ariah.
This is me to a T, honestly. So that works.
It's quite okay. It's quite okay. How are you today?
I'm just great. Hanging in there.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Mm-hmm. It'll be really good to talk to you, especially because I found out that you're leaving us.
Yes, quite soon.
Can you be convinced otherwise?
Maybe.
No, you got a mission. You got a mission, girl. You got a mission.
I already passed this up 2 years ago, and it's coming back around in the perfect way. So I can't really pass it up.
Well, you'll always have a home here. Yeah. So it's nothing is ever quite permanent. And we can kind of get into, what's made you want to, spread your wings and find another nest.
Another
but
one.
You'll another one. It's not like one is destroyed and then the other is created. It's you have multiple nests. So. Yeah. But no, yeah, it's awesome to have you on the show. You're a big part of this community and the national community, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
Very renowned in the shuffle community. So it's and you're just a great person. So it's it's cool. It's a double benefit for myself, the audience, everyone listening, that sort of thing. So, but as we kind of get the gist for when I'm starting an episode, I usually like to talk about how we met each other. Mm-hmm. However, this one's a doozy because I just cannot, for the life of me, I cannot put my thumb on what was that moment. You know what I mean? The moment where it was I met Ariah, and I'm thinking. I'm thinking it was just probably one of the initial meetups that I went to where I was just meeting a crap load of people.
I know we were joking about this right before, about us making fun of this.
Yeah, you're I don't know either.
I think I remember
What was
exactly when it was Shuffle Wisdom.
Was it?
Yes.
Dude, you're probably right.
Yes, it was Shuffle Wisdom and
Halloween party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I remember because were you wearing a onesie?
Yes.
Yes, and I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I had no idea who you were. And I remember introducing myself to you, and then I watched you dance, and I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yo, I was trash though. Like,
no, you weren't.
Don't lie.
No, I literally was like, wow, like I don't know how I haven't met you. Wow, I'm so glad I just had that revelation.
That's actually amazing that you had recall because that's only one of us that would have had it.
Yeah, I have a pretty good memory when things just like get knocked into my noggin.
Sometimes you need like little data points. Maybe it was something that I said that was like, you know what, like that sort of thing. But that is true. Like that was one of my initial meetups.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I was so psyched for that too. I didn't even know what Shuffle Wisdom was, or you know, or I didn't know about like Jolie. Like I was super still fresh to the scene, and but it's after that event, like it was that slow burn of just seeing you around, knowing that you were a part of MHS and just like the Shuffle community at large, and it was really cool connecting with you up until that point. But I would say that in these last couple months, we've been able to connect a little bit further.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a way that we weren't able to before.
Yeah.
For some reason. Like I know that I saw you at like EDC Las Vegas, super good vibes. That set stood out to me. I think we were at Side Piece at Circuit Grounds.
Yeah.
And we were just getting it.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember I was looking for the cow.
Yes. Yep.
I ran into all of you because
Calvin is his name.
It was like, oh my God, Calvin the cow.
It's the totem that we were
dead.
using.
Yeah, I remember seeing the cow and I was like, guys, we have to go to the cow. Like I found it. And so we came and found you guys and vibed out.
Yeah. And it was like Cass was with you and David and all of them. That was a lot. That was a fun set.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun there. So that was one of like the, my initial times just kind of grooving with you. And, I know, Shuffle Wisdom was there, but it didn't really like stand out. But I remember, having those instances with you at like a festival, what like really stood out and kind of showed like what your colors were. But I think that your colors have really shown in the past couple months, just being able to connect with you more. And some of the things that have really stood out, like, is just like your willingness to collaborate with people. Me, you, and Jameson did like a video in like February, and I loved us putting our heads together and just making that small, like it was probably like 2 dance phrases or something like that, but it was so fire and it was so good, and it came from all 3 of us just putting like I said, just crafting something up from each of our different unique lenses, and it was so fun. And you've done that with many other people from the MHS fam, and then from your other communities that you associate with as well. But the one thing that really stands out to me and that I really love about you is like the inclusivity that you bring to the scene. Like you want to include a lot of people. So I know like my friend Emeka was thinking about coming here for the longest time. I actually had him on. Episode's not released at the moment, but I had spoken to him. And he decided to move to Denver in late February, I think is when he got here. And you were one of the first people to like really just bring him in, you know what I mean? Have him be so included in everything. Yeah, like you guys have had like your nights where you're just being silly gooses, and it's the best thing ever, because like that's a hard thing to find when you move into a new city. Yes, of course, he has like the MHS fam, but you've been like his right hand woman throughout, like along the way, and just like keeping him involved with what the fam's doing and things like that, and being a good friend towards him. And I love him. Like he's
great.
The moment that I met him, and then like the experiences that we've had together, I just know that he's just like a good person. So it's so great for someone else to see that as well, and to be able to like create this environment for him while he's still fresh, maybe uncertain about where he fits, in this social dynamic, and making it very clear to him that he's welcome and he's included in everything. So that means a lot to me, because he's my friend, and like you're treating him, as a friend as well. Yeah.
It's amazing. And the other thing that I just love about you, and I'm just giving all my praise out right now.
Praise.
Yep. You're just like, keep going.
I'm listening.
Your ability just to be just totally silly. You know what I mean? At all of our meetups, all of our, the shows that we go to, like, you're a certified silly goose. And
Perfect.
And it gives other people permission to do the same and to exceed your silliness.
Yes.
Like, shit
I
just
love
goes
when they
awry.
exceed it. It's really hard.
Seriously. But it's an amazing thing to have, because like maybe we're seshing and it's all serious, and then you'll just come in and just like do something like just like silly, dumb. You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid, but
really
everyone
stupid.
joins you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're all just doing like
weird
maybe
shit.
this like little like shoulder roll, or like this little musicality that you had, or whatever else.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun with you being a part of the fam and bringing that type of energy. It's like almost like your superpower to have everyone kind of like drop.
Bring them all together.
Yeah, drop whatever seriousness or looming kind of way that you need to act, and they look at you, and it's like that all kind of dissolves. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate your position in our fam. And but enough of me just like talking and praising. I know you love it.
I do. It's great.
But I want to know more about you. I want to get to know your background a little bit more. So
Perfect.
please tell me, like, where are you originally from, and how long have you been shuffling? And then my third question that I've been asking people, because I really like it: what were you like when you were a child?
God. Okay. So I'm from Illinois.
Okay.
I was born in Naperville. It's like right outside of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in a small college town, Bloomington, Illinois, where ISU is at.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved out here about 5 years ago. And then I started shuffling. I think I'm coming up on my third year.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Kind of like hit or miss. I took a little bit of a hiatus for a while. I was the weirdest kid ever. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I was so weird. I didn't have a lot of friends, but like the friends that I did have were like super duper close. And like, it was the same thing. Like, the authenticity that I like bring now, like I've always had that. Thank goodness, because of how I was raised. Both my parents just gave me kind of a platform to be my ultimate self, do anything that I want to do.
For better or for worse.
No, literally, like, I'm so grateful for them for letting me express myself, wear mismatched clothes, watch weird TV shows, like, just like be the little girl that needed to come out.
Yeah.
I wasn't sheltered. I was very ambitious and creative, and being raised by two DJs, and my mom's a yoga instructor and an artist, just kind of set me up for success in that way, I think. And so I'm definitely really grateful for my upbringing, but I was really, really weird. Like, really freaking weird. Like, I used to sit at home and on the back of all my homework, I would make these dinosaur comics, like these like 4 like square dinosaur comics, and I had pages of them. Like, I went back home a few months ago actually, and like they kept every single like art thing that I made, all of those comics, anything that like I created growing up, are just in this big box, and I went through them all, and I was like, wow.
Is the storyline good?
Oh, it's great.
slaps?
It slaps. I wish I had one with me right now so I could show you. Like, they have hair. Like, a lot of them are like dating each other. Like, and they're just dinosaurs.
That sounds like a juicy dinosaur story.
Honestly, everyone makes fun of me for it, but it's great. I think it's hilarious, and like, I'm so happy that I can like look back on those things too.
Dude, get those published.
Yeah, I
like,
should.
You know?
I feel like I should make a book of it. Like, like a comic book.
You should
like Calvin and
self-publish.
Hobbes.
Yes.
Yeah, just like that.
Is it that funny?
Basically,
Is it that funny?
Yeah. It's
Let's go.
pretty funny.
Yo, if you can like Xerox those or something like that, I'll put them in the show notes.
Oh my God, stop!
I'll
I will.
Yo, do it.
I love that.
Dude, that'd be fun.
I'm just gonna start making more. I'm
gonna write that down.
Please do. Please do, because it is the funniest thing ever, and I'm going home in a few weeks anyway, so I'll have to make sure to grab
There you go.
them.
I'll remind you. But that's awesome. So this weirdness that you have, it's obviously progressed into your adult life.
I think so.
So what was going into your adult life and things like that, there was obviously a life before shuffling. So maybe how were you in the years prior to starting your shuffle journey? What were maybe some of the things that primed you for it, and what was the allure to shuffling, before it really happened and materialized?
So I've always been around dance and music, like I said. So I've been a dancer my entire life. I've done tap dance, I've done jazz, hip hop, contemporary, etc. My dad was a professional break dancer growing up. I have VHS tapes of him in battles and competitions and performing on stages and all that jazz. So being around that like was a big influence for me. So I feel like I've always kind of like known about shuffling just through that being kind of correlated towards each other, and like he's a house DJ too, and so like growing up with that, like just the community in itself, like I found out about a lot of those different trends and styles of like raving and all that just through him, and so I just spaced out.
No, you're talking about your specifically your father's influence on dance, and maybe like the bits and pieces or the breadcrumbs that led you to a shuffle journey. Like it seems like there were influences in place that were slowly leading you to joining essentially this community and wanting to move your body in this type of style.
And I used to hoop as well, so being in like the flow arts in general kind of introduced me to like more of like that scene, and then seeing shuffling when I'm out and about. When I was hooping, I was like, whoa, like what is that? I remember I went to Lost Lands back in like 2018, I think, and I have a video of me because I wanted to learn how to shuffle so bad, and I'm shuffling in it, and it's horrible.
Was
Absolutely.
there any music to shuffle to? At Lost Lands?
Actually, like
excuse my ignorance.
No.
Is there a stage for like 4 on the floor type?
Not
music?
necessarily. Like some DJs would just throw house music into their sets, and so it's become more popular too, and like to kind of like bounce off of that, like from bass and dubstep. Like they'll just throw that in because everyone gets excited and wants to boogie, Yeah.
Okay, so you had these specific influences. You had seen it at shows. Do you remember the first time that you saw shuffling at a festival or show or anything like that? Do you have a moment where it was like, damn, I think I want to do that?
I can't remember exactly when I like saw it for the first time, but I know I was a big YouTuber. Actually, it's hilarious because M is somebody that I was watching on YouTube for a while, M. Ratzlaff. And I learned one of my first tutorials from her videos, and then I didn't even know she lived in Denver at the time. And so like once I joined MHS, I ended up meeting her, and like we became really, really close and like hung out all the time. And that was like a wow moment for me, actually. Like she was a big influence for me, just seeing her online.
Yeah, a mentor before, you knew her personally, and I have a similar sentiment. She was my first shuffle coach, and I was learning from her tutorial videos too. So shout out to Emily Ratzlaff. She does great work on her YouTube channel and also her Instagram with these tutorials. And yeah, I liked it so much that, booked like virtual sessions with her and everything like that. I met actually at EDC Las Vegas, what we attended last year. It was the first time I was able to meet her.
Oh, you met?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was the last day, last set. It was Deborah DeLuca, I think. Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Well, it was really
sad.
good, but it was just us next to a speaker, just like bomb.
Just
bomb,
going.
bomb. Yeah. Brain dead from the week or the weekend.
Sounds about right.
And it was amazing to meet her. And hopefully we can cross paths again here soon. But okay, so that was you had the influence to just through what you were doing. You were a flow, kind of like a flow artist. It was kind of like a slow burn of all the of all the experiences and moments that you were seeing others shuffling and whatnot, and throughout that it became maybe stronger and stronger, the will and the want to start shuffling.
Definitely. I wrote it down in like my journals actually for the longest time. I was actually just going through a bunch of them and like saw back in like 2017, 16, when I was writing, like, I want to learn how to shuffle. And then like a few years later, I end up learning, and then I'm in this community, and then I'm traveling for it, and now I'm moving to LA. Like it's a whole thing, and it's so crazy to like look back on that and like be able to reflect in that way. So I'm very grateful that I journaled all of those things as well.
Yeah. That's definitely one thing I need to do better. You know what I mean? Just I think journaling your thoughts like that, and you're creating your own like autobiography in the process, and it's very interesting to like look back on your journey, and it's probably a proud moment of like I knew I wanted to start shuffling in this time period, and then I actually started doing the damn thing here, and now I'm actually pretty good. And now, you know what I mean, I've got a big social network behind me that does the same thing, and you would have never thought that one would have led to the other, and things of that nature. But as for leading up to your origins, what was like the defining moment where you were like, I want to do this, and I'm going to put like methodical practice and thought into doing this and getting good at it? Because you had mentioned like you're at Lost Lands, and maybe you were just messing around and trying to kind of get your legs underneath you. But when did you decide, and when did you know that, like, what was like ground zero for you essentially for your shuffle journey?
Actually through my best friend at the time, Becca. Her best friend, Kiyomi, I don't know if you've met Kiyomi. She hasn't came out in a while, but she was one of the like OGs of MHS, basically. She was at a little like paint and pour party that Becca had thrown. I was meeting all of her friends for the first time. And Kiyomi and I started talking about music and like what we liked. And I told her I was a hooper, and she was like, "Oh, I shuffle." And I was like, "Whoa, I want to learn how to shuffle." And so her and I just connected, became really good friends. And then she invited me out, and I told her I would learn how to hoop. She came over to my house one day, and we kind of just learned from there. Made a collab when I didn't really know much about what I was doing. It's way back in my Instagram, but she was, I guess, like my catalyst into the group and the community as a whole to like actually like have people to do it with, because I feel like I was kind of learning like here and there, like little things, but I didn't really have any direction. And so having community was the lack that I had. And so finally getting that and seeing like, oh wow, like there's other people out here that are actually doing this, like, and spending time, like they were going to Cheeseman frequently. It was a way smaller group, but they were going out often. I was like, I have friends to hang out with and do this with and learn, and they're not going to judge me. Like that was a big thing, was also feeling like I don't know what I'm doing. And so I feel like I can't do it, in front of people because I'm not good or whatever, those limiting beliefs that you'll get.
Very common roadblock.
Exactly. Sure. And so I met her and did that, and she kind of just threw me in And I met a lot of people after that. Like Jorge and I were really close, like in those initial like times. Like we also have a collab with Kiyomi back when I was learning still. Like they were very uplifting and like helpful and
Supportive.
so open. Yeah, they were so supportive and open to like me just doing the damn thing basically. And like having that support in that way was so important for me. So yeah, that was definitely my intro, especially out here. And then the pandemic happened. And that's like when I really started. It's because like before that I met everybody and we went to a few shows and then everything shut down.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, damn, I just gained this community and now I feel like I'm losing it. So I forced myself. I was staying with my boyfriend at the time. We like lived together at his house during the pandemic. And I was just going out in his driveway every day and just recording myself and just learning. And so I was like watching tutorials and going through Instagram. That's when TikTok was like blowing up with the shuffle videos and stuff like that. And so I was like, wow, like this is really like becoming more popular now. And it's giving me more of a chance to learn. Because I feel like there's tutorials everywhere, but like when it was on that up and up right then, it really just gave me that platform to just dive in deep and get more feedback too, because more people were doing it. And so I started doing that during pandemic. I think I shuffled for about a year, like on and off. And then I moved back home to Chicago. I was going through a lot and moved home for like 3 months. And as soon as I got back home, I just dove into it. It was every day for hours. Like I would just go to the park. I was just in my house labbing by myself. And I recorded pretty much everything just so I could watch it back and see if like, oh, am I doing that move that I want to do right? Or how do I look? How does my flow look? Like, can I get feedback from other people about what I'm doing? And so that was when I made a huge improvement. And just had more determination. I felt more assured in myself and was just overall happy with what I was doing. And I like, that's like when I fell in love with it.
What was this still during COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, things had opened up again. So like, I think maybe a few of us were meeting up right before that. We were being safe, of course. But yeah, we were meeting up at Cheeseman, like small groups of us. And then, yeah, I think things started to slowly open back up, and here we are now, basically.
Yeah. What? So I'm always curious, what from that ground zero when you were dancing with Kiyomi?
Kiyomi, yeah.
And then maybe 3 to 6 months into the future, what did that look like? Was it frustrating for you? Were you just having fun and it was new and you were becoming a part of like a new social circle and stuff like that, so it kind of kept it lighthearted? Or like what did that look like? Were you structured about it? Was it fun? Was it loose? Were you really disciplined about it?
I wasn't disciplined yet, I don't think. I was nervous. I was very nervous because like my whole life I was searching for that sense of community. Like I said, I was a really weird kid. Like I had a few friends, like I had groups of friends, but like it wasn't like the community aspect of a friendship, you know? And so like now I'm meeting all these people that have that. And I think I was more intimidated by that rather than like what I was doing.
The dance
itself.
Interesting.
I'd never had that experience since like high school when I was in like sports and stuff, you know? And so it was just like the introduction back into that environment was a lot. Everyone was so supportive and amazing, and you know, it made it easier. But I think I was just having a good time. I was having a lot of fun and just kind of goofing around like I do. And it just went from there. And I was just inspired by meeting a lot of the people that I was meeting at the time. Like Devin was coming out a lot more then. And so when I met him, he was like one of the first people to like push me into the circle and be like, no, you're doing this, like go. And he was really rooting me on, and that was so helpful. It was like a small meetup at Vinyl, I think. Like we were on like the rooftop of Vinyl, and there was some DJs playing. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, that was another like little pivotal moment for me to be like, oh, like I'm accepted here.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
People want to know what I'm not what you're about, but just
Yeah.
like they want you to be included and know that if you jump in the circle and maybe you kill it, maybe you blow it, it doesn't matter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're all just having fun.
just
That's
getting out
sort
of your
fun.
head is a big thing. Like I feel like people are so intimidated by shuffle circles in themselves, which it can be a lot. It's
sure.
a lot of people and a lot of eyes on you. If you're not used to being like the center of attention or whatever, in that moment, it can be really nerve-wracking, and that's totally understandable. But once you do it, it's, especially for the first few times, like when you're like getting into it, I feel like it's the most euphoric feeling afterwards. No matter how nervous you were, you're like, you feel accomplished, like,
Yeah.
oh, I did that thing, you know? And so I feel like being pushed in that way was really important for my growth, and it was a big catalyst for me to keep going, because I'm like, wow, I did that. Like, I'm proud of myself. I need to do something else now. You know, I need to surpass where I just came.
Yeah.
Like, let's go into a bigger circle next time.
Yeah. It won't hit as hard
Yeah.
if it was of the same
Yeah.
experience or of the same, shuffle radius,
Yeah.
or shuffle circle radius or diameter. Like,
Yeah.
No, I totally see what you're saying. Like, it almost inserted like fuel into, I want to get better at this. I want to connect with people more, you know. You might have been dipping your toes in for a little bit, and you're like, I want to dive in now. No, and it's very cool to hear you describe that, because I think all of us have like those moments.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people who are like, they learned it from the beginning and they were just gung ho from the get go. But from the people that I've talked to, there was always like that moment where they were shuffling and they were kind of practicing, and then there was like a moment that was like, I want to take this serious now. You know what I mean? I want to become like what Allie would say, a shuffle crackhead.
Yep. Oh my, she's one.
We all know this. This is
I
just
love her.
common
I love
facts.
her so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like I definitely had a few of those moments that just like, I feel like everyone's kind of, I mean, not everyone, but a big majority of us have our moments where we're just like, I don't know, like, I don't want to practice. I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah.
Like, or am I even good at it? Like, you question yourself. It's a whole thing. And I've had so many of those moments where I'm just like, wow, I love this. Like, for me, like going out to LA for the first time was a really big one. You can ask Jorge about this because it's actually the funniest story why I even went, because I never had like pure interest in going there. And Jorge like posted about a classic movement meetup because he's a part of classic movement. And
Jorge is?
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
And I was like, whoa, like, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's this like meetup is happening in LA. And I was like, I'm going to go. And he didn't believe me. I bought a flight to go out there. And I texted him. I was like, I just bought my flight. Like, I bought my ticket for the meetup. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, like, perfect. And it was so funny. We didn't talk about it for the longest time. And then my friend Chevy, that's from my hometown, she moved out to LA. She does photography out there now. I texted her. I was like, hey, can I come stay with you, like, out in LA? And she's like, yeah, of course you can. And I texted Jorge. I was like, I got a place to stay. Like, I'm coming. And it was so funny because we ended up being on the same flight.
Jorge went
the
too.
same
Oh, okay.
flight. Yeah, he went, and we're on the same flight. I'm like, "What's up?" And so we hung out like pretty much the whole time. And as soon as we landed, I was like, "I'm moving here." He's like, "No, you're not."
He's always
"No, you're
like,
not."
yeah.
I was like, "Yeah."
He's always
I am."
calling bullshit. And you're
Yeah,
like, nah.
literally. He's like, "You're not gonna do it," and we're like kidding around, but he knew, I think, once we went to like a few of the meetups and things, because I didn't have a plan. Like, it was so spontaneous for me to go, obviously. And we ended up going to, oh gosh, I can't even remember what it was. Oh, it was AR Project was doing a raw session with Shuffle Babes, and they had a meetup, and I knew no one, like, absolutely nobody. And Jorge was like adamant on meeting a bunch of people. And I was like, who's that? Who's that? Like, I was so curious about everything and everyone. But then I got so nervous. I was like, oh, isn't California where all the OGs are at? We're going to
Am I talking to an OG?
We're going to an OG meetup, basically, because like a lot of them like go to a lot of those sessions. And so I was so intimidated and scared. He's like, we're gonna meet Mizu. I was like, I didn't even know who Mizu was. And I was like, who's Mizu? I was like, you're talking about him like he's this like famous idol. And so I was so nervous. And then I end up walking up and I see Mizu and he's shorter than me. And I'm like, this is Mizu. And it was so funny because I just hit it off so well with every single person. I think it was just the fact I was being so authentic and like just having fun.
Yeah.
And
also, Mizu is like the nicest person
he's so
ever.
nice.
Yeah.
Like literally, I love that man. He's great. But a big catalyst during that trip was that meetup in particular, because I met so many people and they were doing battles at that meetup, and I had never seen a battle. I never thought about battling, and I was like, maybe I'll battle today. I got super nervous and like chickened out, and then Val came up to me, who like runs Shuffle Babes and everything. She came up to me and was like, she's like, we have one more spot to battle. Do you want to battle? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I've never done it before. Like, I don't really know anybody. I don't know if I'm comfortable. And she's like, we need a girl. Like, it was like all guys.
It was like a motherly.
Yeah.
nudge.
She's like, we need a girl to do it. And I was like, I don't know. Like, come back around. Ask everybody one more time, then come back around. And she did. And I was like, this is the time, I guess.
Yep.
So I did it. And I don't remember if we were the first ones to battle, but they were drawing names. I got Mizu. I was pissed.
Killer.
I was pissed off. I was like, you're kidding me. Of course, I had been watching him dance at that point, and I'm like, this guy is elite. He's like a little whirlwind, and I'm me.
His gallop spins, though?
Yeah.
Straight up whirlwind.
Yeah. And I literally was like, you're freaking kidding me right now. Like, of course, this is who I'm battling for my first battle ever in LA with all of these people around me who I'm intimidated by. I'm going to lose. So I was just like freaking out. I was going up to Jorge. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so nervous. He's like, it's going to be fine. It's fine. He was battling too. And I ended up doing it. I think I blacked out. I have a video of it. I went off. And
Let's go.
They came up to me after and they were like, he did one move that just got me because I didn't know how to battle yet. And he got, I can't remember what he did. I think he bowed at the end or something like silly like that. And they were like, if he wouldn't have done that, like, you would have won. I was like, you're kidding me. Like, you guys are baffling me right now. Like, that's not true.
Did they record this? Is there
I have a video.
Of this?
I have a video of it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I can show it to you. Yeah.
Let's put it in the show notes. That'd be cool.
I'm down. But yeah, I ended up almost winning, and it was my first battle.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty cool. And after that, I was just on a rampage. Like, that inspired me so much to get out of my comfort zone. And like, before that, I was really like adamant on learning how to like shape and like do like certain styles of shuffling, and didn't really dive into like the fundamentals of certain styles of like Moss and Melbourne and all that jazz. Like, I had no idea. Like, I hadn't been that immersed. And then being in a community, big reason why I love LA so much. There's so many different people from different backgrounds everywhere with something to teach you. And they're so engulfed in it. And it's amazing. And so that really inspired me to just get out of that comfort zone. And then shortly after that, this trip is very big for me. We went to the Classic Movement meetup I was talking about. And I remember
Scott's the leader of Classic Movement, right?
I can't remember who the like leader is in the crew itself, but Scott is a part of Classic Movement. I believe. I could be wrong. But before that, Emily, she had been a part of Shuffle Wisdom. I'd seen all the videos. I saw
Emily Kim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I I had seen videos of her and I was like, wow, that is crazy. Like that production, the like community aspect of it. Like I was just so inspired by so many different things because a lot of people were like introducing new communities for us to embrace ourselves in.
Be a part of.
And I remember seeing her videos and I was like, I want to be a part of that. Like, and Jolie had been posting about how there was going to be another one. And if people were interested, just like let her know. And I like sent her a message and she never opened it. And so I got really discouraged. But I was manifesting doing Shuffle Wisdom. We go to the Classic Movement meetup and I'm like, for some reason, I feel like I'm going to meet Jolie on this trip. I had no idea when, where, how, anything. And I turn around when I'm dancing and I see her walk in and she's with Jay. And I'm like, I literally told Jorge on the way there, like, I want to meet her. Like, I'm inspired to meet, like, I'm determined to meet her because she was a big inspiration for me too. Just like by what she was curating and how she was bringing people together to give us a platform that we never had before. I was so inspired and I manifested that shit. And she walked in and I was like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I was starstruck. I was like, oh my God, this bitch just walked in and I literally manifested it. Why am I so surprised? But at the same time, what? I don't understand.
You weren't ready for it.
I wasn't ready at all. And she ended up coming right up to me after I was dancing. And she's like, how do I not know you? I was like, I know you.
I sent you a message.
I know who you are. And it was so funny because it just went from there. And she invited me on the spot. And we got each other's numbers, and I ended up going to Shuffle Wisdom.
Which one?
It was the third one, the Utah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I was, it was just an upward trend from there. Like, that trip really propelled me in the community as a whole. And so here I am now. So yeah, I think that you were talking about catalysts. That's definitely the biggest catalyst I had.
No, straight up. That seems like a defining moment for you that you really hit the I believe button. That like this is the community for you. I just want to ask you, was that your first time meeting Jay?
Yeah, it was. And from there, like we grew a bond like no other people.
Your guys' dance at that Shuffle Wisdom, I have like goosebumps actually right now. Your guys like collab in the moment that you shared at Shuffle Wisdom Utah was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like riveting. You guys were on the same wavelength, and it's almost like no one existed but y'all. Like the way that you were interacting with each other, nothing was happening behind each other. You guys were in your own bubble, creating something so special. And I remember that.
Yeah, thank you. And like so many people actually bring up that moment when it comes in regards to him, because like you can know somebody for so long and like have the greatest bond, and you could know somebody for a short amount of time and have that same bond. And that's what it was for him and I. And he was like my soulmate. Like I love that man so much. And he encouraged me so much throughout my journey and just meeting new people and being myself. Like he was the type of person to tell you how it is no matter what. And he was so supportive. And so he was one of the biggest inspirations that I had.
Nothing but kindness from him. Yeah. He was amazing. And for the audience that doesn't know, Jay is no longer with us, and he was a very fundamental piece of the Shuffle community. And I was only able to know him for a very short period of time, but within that time, like I said, he showed me nothing but kindness and inclusivity and embodied pretty much everything that the Shuffle community is. And he's impacted a lot of people in this community, and we miss him very much.
Very, very much. And I'm not going to cry because I'm not going to be a little bitch about it. But it's like, rest in peace. I love you with my entire heart. Like, He inspired me to degrees I've never been inspired by. And like, he always stood by my side. And I wouldn't have met a lot of the people I met without him. And I wouldn't have felt so safe without him. And a lot of people know that and can see that just based on like the interactions, if they've seen them in person or they watched Shuffle Wisdom and saw that one moment, you know, like, it's been very impactful. And honestly, like the last few months since his passing has been really, really rough, just like coming to terms with that. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't change anything in the world for the time that I spent with him and the moments that I curated, because I'll have those forever, you know?
Absolutely.
So.
And a lot of people will have that same sentiment.
Yeah. And like, now I have like a family besides my own, like just through the community that was built around him too. Like, a lot of my best friends out in California were best friends with him. And so it's like, we're all just like little tight niche, you know?
He lives through all of you guys. You know what I mean? Like I said, he has very much has a place in a lot of the shufflers within the community. So he very much is a part of all of us. Like that essence is there and is present. So rest in peace, brother. So you've been talking about your shuffle journey, like up until this point, and that seems like a very big milestone for you. Number one, going to LA initially, and then the Shuffle Wisdom Utah event. So like there's a lot of things that have been kind of nurturing your soul throughout this journey, and it's leading you to invest even more and more of your time and energy into the dance, into the community. Things like that, and it seems like it's been very valuable to you, you know, throughout all of this. What other facets of life being a part of this, has it helped you with? You know, whether that be your physical growth, your mental growth, your spirituality, things like that. Because I know that shuffling has a mysterious way of touching on a lot of those things.
Yeah,
you know?
It really does. Like, dance in general in itself moves stagnant energy in your body. And so I'm a big spiritual bitch. And so like movement is so important to me. And like I said, like I've always danced. I've always been around that type of movement flowing. And I'd never have reached the sense of solace that I've reached without shuffling. And like I said, I hooped. Like, that's another really free-flowing flow art. Like the mind state that you can get into when you're flowing is insane. But just being able to be so expressive with every ounce of my being, every part of my body. Like, I could move my ears if I wanted to, and it would, like, I don't know, I don't even know. A ripple effect.
Yeah.
Like it's
it has some kind of effect on your mentality.
And it just, I don't know what it is about it that just changes my perspective and can re-ground myself. I can recenter myself through doing it. A lot of my most emotional moments have been through shuffling, and like at Jay's celebration of life, like they made a whole shuffle choreo for him, and like just watching that even just like sparked something. And then we danced around a picture of him, and we're all shuffling, and like I was crying while I was shuffling, and it's like
amazing.
It was just like such a bonding moment. And like just going to festivals and music is healing in itself as well, and the type of music that we listen to can be so impactful on so many people, especially like trance. And a lot of like the trance events that I've been to like have made me cry, and I'm dancing at the same time. It's like moving that energy around your body is so important, and it just centers you and it brings you back to your authentic self. And that's so important to me, and finding that has always been a goal. And I don't feel like I would have found it without this. And it's just made me more me, you know? And I'm very grateful for this dance in itself, and just bringing me back to Ariah, and bringing me back to my loves, my passions, my drive, my friends, my community. Like, there's so many different facets of it. Like
Yeah.
it's connects so many different pieces in my life, and it's saved me, like, genuinely. And I send sappy messages to everybody all the time about it, because I'm like, this community in itself, like, yeah, we're dancing, yeah, we're doing these things, but like, just the people that have been brought into this community, like, are so special and like have helped me through so much, and we're so in tune. I don't know if it's because we're shuffling, we're centering ourselves, or what it is, but like, I've never felt like I've had a better family community aspect in my life than with this. Not even with like any sports I've played, or just community faceted things in general, but it's definitely really impactful.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's like I'm hard pressed to find another group that centers themselves around an interest that has a similar camaraderie that the shuffle community does.
yeah.
And it's a weird thing. It's like, it's everything that I feel like therapy, has bundled together. It has like the social aspect of it, because we're social creatures, we're communal, we're probably most happy in general when we're doing things that we love with the people that we love. It has the physical element to it. I was listening to something, I think it was on YouTube, where a physiologist was explaining that like our muscles and our skeletal muscles are large like endocrine producers. Like when we move, it creates happy hormones, these endorphins and the serotonin and dopamine and all these things. But also just like your mentality, when you're able to kind of like let go of any kind of preoccupation in your own head, and you're just able to be in a present moment, because that's what a song is, right? Like if you're really listening to a song, you're in the present moment and you're riding that song wherever it goes. You're able to detach from all these perhaps intrusive thoughts or things that you had been thinking about in your routine day to day, and you're able to come back to the present, come back to like your own breath, how you're moving and things like that. It's everything that can calm a mind and make us like kind of okay with ourselves. And I think all those elements are packed into this interest.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see, and it almost makes me feel very obligated, and probably yourself as well, to expose as many people to this craft as we can. 'Cause
Yeah.
you just don't know who it's going to help. You don't know who needs shuffling at this moment. And it would be so good to have that serendipitous moment that you can kind of intervene in someone's life who needs shuffling, and they find it because of you.
Yeah. It can happen in like the most random way.
Yeah.
You can impact anybody at any time. Like, I feel like that's a big part of like why I like to go out in public and dance, and like people see it and be like, whoa, like what is she doing? Like that's kind of weird, but like I kind of want to know what she's doing. And so like it gets people intrigued, because it isn't something it's well known to a degree, especially like in this day and age.
Not to everyone.
Like, not to everyone, but like it's definitely like more well known than it was.
For sure.
And
I'll agree with that.
I feel like
It's still an anomaly, though.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like
it is.
because I've seen people like get their minds blown. You know what I mean? In real time, either seeing like from a third party perspective, seeing some, seeing a shuffler, and then first time someone is seeing shuffling and being like, whoa, and then the opposite, where someone comes to me or something like that.
Yeah.
I cut you off. What else were you saying?
I totally just forgot.
But you were just saying, shuffling is it's becoming more common, but it's still kind of like an anomaly, like I was saying, and not everyone is really exposed to it.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually funny. Like I was telling you before we started recording, I work at a physical therapy office, right? And so like I work with very, very normal people. And so as a lot of people in the community do. No, I don't. Like I show up like this, like I stick out like a sore thumb. And they're like asking me about my life and like the things that I do. And I'm like, well, I move my feet really fast and dance to really
And
fast
I do it
music.
like this.
And I do it like this. And they're like, what the heck is that? And I'm like, this is shuffling. And so like they had no idea. And so it's like, it's a very frequent thing in my life, like out and about especially. And so like, yeah, like you said, it is like an anomaly. And I'm just glad that we're able to start bringing more light to it. And like, there's battles going on, there's competitions, like everything that just happened, the competition that just happened, the battles, I can't remember the name.
Which FTS?
Not FTS, the one that was out of the country. Autumn was just a part of it.
The Shuffle Showcase.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like that's happening. Like that was huge. And like it's just there's so many different little things, and like it's crazy for me when I talk to my dad about it, because like I said, he break dances, well not anymore, but did. And just being a part of that battle culture, those communities, and seeing how that grew, and then watching it happen for shuffling, because he's seeing me go through the same thing he went through.
Yeah.
And he's literally mind blown by it, because he's like, wow, like you're literally doing exactly what I was doing on a new, you are a part of an like evolution of something.
Yeah.
And like you don't even like realize. I'm like, wow, you're actually right. Like this is historical. All of these things that are happening, like once this, because it's going to keep going. It's not stopping
will
anytime
evolve.
soon.
It
And
will
it's going to evolve into this creation, and we're a part of that.
Yeah.
And that's the craziest part to me, like doing Shuffle Wisdom, going to LA, meeting all these people, collaborating with all these people. There's going to be people in the future that are like looking back at us and being like, whoa.
What were those OGs
Whoa,
doing? Yeah.
those are the OGs. Like, goddamn. Like, it's literally like.
And the OGs will be like, no, we're
We're
the OGs.
the OGs. It's just going to be a battle to the
Yeah.
fucking end.
No,
But, like,
okay, no, I would like to project as much accurate
Yeah.
history about what the hell is going
Yeah.
down. Because I think that's actually hard to find, is like factual historical counts.
because we're
of-
in the
Yeah,
history.
yeah. But I mean, like even like early 2000s, like Melbourne, Australia, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then what even inspired those movements, and like all this.
It
like,
goes back so far,
Yeah.
and that's why
It's
I
a butterfly
love,
effect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a butterfly effect.
I
yeah.
love that like so many people are shedding a lot more on the history and like learning a lot more, and then giving that information out as well, because that's so important. So we do know where it came from, you know, like because it's an evolution like anything else, like it's an evolution of something else.
Yeah.
And you just take little pieces and you make something new, you know, and then something new creates it from that. And so
Yeah.
it just keeps going. It's a ripple effect. And that's the craziest part about all this. Just like, wow, like we're in the middle of like that big leap, you know, especially with social media and like
Yeah.
being able to make content. Like, I mean, back, like people were recording and stuff. Like you can find videos back from like 2010.
They might have
and
put it on YouTube.
Yeah, you know, on
maybe not,
YouTube,
though.
like, you know,
It's
like
a camcorder.
Yeah.
It's got so much juice and so much memory, you know?
Exactly. It's so like it's crazy. That's why it feels more historical now, because we're able to document so much
Yeah.
of it, you know? And like with so many other things, you just find that shit in textbooks, you know? Like you gotta like look it up. And like
real.
now we have a live action history book.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's insane, and it's crazy to think about it in that way of like how much headway we've actually made, and like value everybody that's came to make it where it is now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's like, so one thing with that, like it's nice because like now we don't really have to like record keep too hard, and like have like moments where we put it in a textbook
Yeah.
or something like that, because it's just happening with social media and things like that. Like things are being documented and new styles are coming to play, and it's like people are recording these and events are happening, and you know there's milestones. But just like for the podcast really quick, I would absolutely love for people to come like out in general and set some records straight in that period of time that I was talking to, that camcorder
Yeah.
era, you know what I mean, where things might not have been clear. Like maybe the history was happening in, dark dark clubs.
Yeah.
And but people weren't necessarily like writing things down or getting like, it's all going to be based off of like word of mouth essentially. But if anyone has like a collection of those historical events, or at least pieces of them, I would love for them to like be on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm just going to like put that out into the ether
should.
and see what comes out, because it would be really amazing to shine light on that area so we know where we came from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that would be really cool. Right now, like I said, not a problem. You know what I mean? We got it. We got it. We got technology helping us out.
plenty.
You know? And we're all ADHD, like, you know, just trying to figure this out. So it's probably the best thing for us that we've got social media on our side. But I probably believe that even the initial OG shufflers also had ADHD, and so like they weren't necessarily recording everything that they could have. But I digress. I digress from that. I just wanted to put it out into the universe and see what comes back, because it would be cool to have a historical recollection, you know, whether that be an interview, whether it be voice notes or someone to fill in the gaps.
Those gaps, you know? Yeah, for sure.
What were we talking about?
I can't even remember now. I have a really short-term memory. If you can't
I'm
tell.
usually better at this, but no, it's quite okay. You know, we were talking a little bit about, you know, the history, but I think how we got there was, so before we were talking about the value that shuffling has given you, and you know, I don't know like how we like got into the history part of it, and that's okay. But I do have a question for you in regards to, you know, what value this has brought to your life. And you know, we had talked a little bit about this, not before we recorded, but just kind of like in passing. You've had some like ups and downs like through your life, kind of. In the last like 6 months, I think it's been, you know, a little bit more intense. And you've described to me like how much shuffling has like kept you grounded through those times, and how it's helped you kind of reconcile a lot of the things that you've been through. Can I just kind of give you the floor to talk a little bit about your recent experiences and how shuffling has helped you in those?
Definitely.
I hope that was a good segue.
Yeah, it's a great segue.
Thank you.
Yeah, my life has been a whirlwind, and it's crazy because shuffling's actually been a part of like a few of the really big moments in my life. Like we already talked about Jay passing. Yeah. Through that period, I had found out some news about my health during that. I don't want to get too into detail about it, but it was pretty detrimental during that. And then I was also dealing with, I was losing my job at the time. My old bar was getting shut down. It got bought out. I was dealing with that. I was dealing with a housing crisis. I didn't know where to live. I was stressed out. And like my life was just falling apart all at once. And honestly, like I was in probably the worst place I've ever been, ever. And I have bipolar disorder. I've been diagnosed since I was 13, been dealing with it for a really long time. And that's why I say like community is such a big part for me, is just having people that like you can even just talk to. It's not that we all go out and we shuffle all the time and that's all we do. We don't speak about anything, you know, like we talk, we have some deep conversations, and like having people to give me an ear when I didn't think I had anybody, like, but yeah, I going back on everything I was going through, I was actually in a really bad mental spot, and I had a suicide attempt. I haven't told a lot of people. I don't mind talking about it. Back in, I want to say September. And if I wouldn't have had the community that I have, like, I don't believe that I would be here. And getting back into it, I took a hiatus for a while. I mean, I think we had a conversation like a few months ago, and you came up to me and were like, oh, you haven't been around a lot. Like, what's been going on? And I'm like, I've just been going through it, man. Because I was. And like I took a really long break from it, and I felt discouraged. I felt lost. And this was just because of my life in general, not because of the dance. But I always come back to it, though, especially in those moments. And like I also am going through a pretty big breakup, and healing from that the last few months as well. Like, and just being able to hit people up in our group and be like, hey, I need a friend.
Yeah.
You know, let's go dance, or let's watch a movie. Let's play games. Let's all get together and go out to eat. Like, through this community specifically. And I've never had that in my life. And it's just so important to me, and everybody, you included. Like, you guys have impacted me so much, and like I said, I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. And to be able to be my authentic self in this way and like move the energy that's in my body without sitting with it and not being stagnant, like, and being able to express myself, be raw, be vulnerable, and be honest and open about my hardships is a really big part of what always brings me back, you know? And I'm very grateful. I keep saying that because I am.
Harp on it.
Immensely. Like, I don't know why, but it's just changed my life and has given me a platform to speak up about a lot of things. It's given me a platform to be myself. It's given me the space and energy to release things, you know, through movement. And it's so impactful. And yeah, I feel like a lot of other people can also probably agree, even if they don't talk about it, but like, movement is medicine, truly, and it saves lives. And that's why like yoga is a really big thing. Moving that energy through your body in an intentful way is so important to be happy in whatever way that is. And because we're doing it so frequently, and like to the type of music that we're listening to, around the people that we are, in the environments that we are, it's so different than anything else. And like flow state in general and flow arts in general, like, that's why they're so impactful, and that's why so many people do them, and that's why they love them, and they want to just keep growing and expanding off of it. It's because it's moving all of that through you. It's healing you. It's healing your trauma. It's making you vulnerable with yourself, and you don't feel alone because you're able to connect in certain ways, you know, that aren't like with Jay, for example, again, like in that moment at Shuffle Wisdom, when we locked eyes and we're like, we're doing this, you know, like that energy exchange was through us moving together, that movement that we had, and we shared that, and our energies were aligned, you know, and they like, even with like mirroring and stuff like that, like going back to like just different like ways to engage in the community. And when we're out and about, like, you feel that energy coming from another person. Oh, I'm going to expand upon that. Like, I want to enjoy that moment with you without speaking. Yeah. You know? And like, it's so crazy, like, that we're able to do that. Like, kind of bat up an eye. You know? Like, it's
snap of
crazy.
A finger.
Snap of a finger. You know? Like, it's just so amazing. And I'm sure a lot of people could also feel the same way. And I feel safe when I do it. And I feel safe around the people that I'm with. And just being able to just leave my house and just not give a fuck, you know, and go dance with my friends for hours and not even have to talk about anything. Like, throughout the last few months, like, a lot of my moments have been spent just being and enjoying those moments and realizing like, wow, I have these people around me. I'm in this moment. I feel this energy. I'm listening to this music. I'm here and I'm conscious. I have so much to be grateful for and be in tune with that I didn't even realize. And then my energy levels changed and my happiness just kept getting higher and higher. And like, I just feel so much more inspired again. And it's because I'm constantly centering myself and bringing myself back to source. And that's such a big thing, like back on like spirituality too, and just being aligned with what we are. We all are one, you know? And so community and movement just being paired together with sound frequency, like, it's so impactful.
It's like a more efficient pathway to connection with one another, because I believe that as well. Like, we are, at the end of the day, like kind of like one entity, you know, however you slice it. And that combination of movement and sound frequency, and just proximity to one another while you're experiencing both of those things, it's a very efficient route to bring us back to that notion that we are one, you know. And I think it's so beautiful to see. And in the same vein, it helps the individual too, with, like, you had a lot of shit go down, you know, and such is life. But this has given you a tool to process a lot of those things and come to terms with them, and to feel supported throughout. Because like no one gets out of this life alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's gonna be struggles. There's gonna be mental turmoil throughout, and to have these tools and to be equipped with this kind of community, this kind of instrument that you can use throughout these rough times is really a blessing. And I don't think a lot of people really knew it's what they needed, but it found them at the right time. And I've talked to a lot of people about that. And I just want to commend you for, like, coming on and being very vulnerable. It's very brave of you. But I also think that it'll help a lot of people, because there are a lot of people who are suffering in silence, for sure, and maybe are isolated and think that they're the only one going through it, and that everyone is just walking around and are very just normalized, and aren't experiencing the rigors that life throws at them. But that's not true. You know, some people are really good at hiding it.
Yeah.
And so I thank you for sharing your experience, because I think it'll resonate with a lot of people.
Of course. And I want people to feel like they have voices to talk about things like this, especially with social media and feeling nervous and not feeling like you have to put on a facade at all times. Like, it's so important to remember that we're all just people trying to exist at the end of the day. And, like, if you just remember, like, everybody is going through something, and there's always going to be somebody that's in your corner, no matter what. And you may not even know, you know. And, like, that's how I feel with, like, this community. Like the people that did know when things were going on, like, they were so in my corner and so adamant about making sure I was okay. And I'm so thankful for all of them. And it's just, we're all here for each other at the end of the day. We want everyone to be happy. And I want everybody to be happy. I want people to feel comfortable in talking about shit like this, because it's important. And, like, a lot of us do this, maybe unconsciously, maybe subconsciously, whatever, for our happiness, you know. And it's because it's healing us, and it's really important. And I think that a lot of people could benefit from just dancing in general, but especially shuffling.
There's something about shuffling.
Something about shuffling.
Like, I've done swing dancing and things of that nature, which is a lot of fun, especially because you can have physical contact with, like, a partner, and you're moving them, and let's get a lead and a follow. But there's something about, like, that freestyle, freeform kind of dance that unlocks something else, you know, more dopamine, more serotonin, whatever. I don't know the physiological, you know, explanation for it, nor do I would care to, but it doesn't matter that much. I just know that the end result is very good for me and for a lot of other people.
It's like ecstatic dance is, like, similar too. It's like being able to just move your body how it's kind of, like, persuading you to move. Like, where you feel stuck is probably where you need to move. You know, like, if you're stuck in your shoulders, move your shoulders. If you're stuck in your feet, move your feet. Like, your fingertips, your head, your neck. Like, analyzing those things has been really helpful for me, especially as of late, with my flow and like with getting that sense of a flow state. Is just really identifying, where am I stuck? Why am I stuck there? Why do I feel nervous about moving that part of my body when your body needs to move? Like, what can I do with this? Can I get on the ground? Like, I was talking to Allie about this the other day, actually, because she was like, wow, like, you've really like leveled up. Have you been practicing? I was like, no, I just feel like I'm just being more intentful with what I'm doing, and intentful in the way of like moving myself, just where I don't feel comfortable and figuring out why, you know? And like, that's really helped, because now I can play with sounds a lot more, and it makes it more fun, and it makes me feel more fluid, and it makes me feel more myself, you know? And like, I feel like that's a really big part of like my journey right now, is just coming back to myself and understanding like I am my own person. I can move in whatever way I feel like I need to. And it's really changed my perspective just on this dance in general too, and just incorporating different aspects and different levels of consciousness and understanding of the body, and just being creative and playing around, you know?
You're good at that. You're good at playing. And that's, for real. Certified silly goose, like I'm saying.
Silly goose over here.
But no, that's a good paradigm to work off of. Like, what is tight? What doesn't feel like it ought to move? What, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all those things, because it helps identify perhaps things that you've shied away from moving because it doesn't feel comfortable for XYZ reason. And I gotta start thinking about that, because I do feel like I'm a little bit stiff here and there when, you know, in my flow. Maybe you can point it out, you know?
Maybe we can identify it together.
I'm down. No, very, very cool insight there. And I know that, you know, in the present day, you know, you're at that point in your journey where you're still having milestones, you're still having insights. And like, it just goes to show that, you know, this journey is always kind of riveting. There's always something new. There's novelty to it if you're looking for it and things like that. And I know you've had like a couple new experiences just with, well, actually not new, but you're being more intentional about like perform or doing battles and things like that. You've been a part of you know, the FTS. Did you qualification? Right?
I didn't record or submit a video for those. I attended.
Oh, okay.
Which was really inspirational to see, because that was actually right. The reason I was out in LA was for Jay's Celebration of Life.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be on the same weekend as the FTS battle. So I was like, screw it, I'll go. And I'd been in a hiatus for so long. So like going there and seeing everyone doing what they were doing and how like intense it was, how like structured it was so cool to see it unfold in front of me, because that was a really big milestone with battles. I feel like seeing all of that and the people that participated, that inspired me, and seeing them dance in person, it was just a really cool experience to have. That just sparked that interest in the dance in general, because like I had said, like I was going through so much that like I lost my passion for it because I lost myself. And so being engulfed in that community again and seeing like, wow, like everyone's just going for it, you know, like it was so cool to see and be a part of, even though I wasn't directly in like a part of it. And a lot of my I lost my voice. I was screaming every video that I recorded at those battles. I'm just like, freaking out. And it's hilarious. I didn't have a voice the next day. It was great.
That's cool that you like borrowed that energy and like took it home with you. And, you know, I think that is about the time where you started to kind of come around more and like, you know, it was almost like a rebirth for you in a sense. And I know you've had experiences with other battles as well shortly after that, being a part of the Techno Collective battle, and then the MHS Kill Off and things of that nature. What's this all about? Are you a battler
I'm
now?
a certified battler.
Is this something that you're putting like meaningful effort, and you're being intentional about the battles that are coming up? Is it more of like a self-development tool for you? Is it a way of connecting with the community further? Like, what does battling mean to you at the moment?
I haven't really thought about this because like it's kind of all of those things in a way, because self-development for sure. I'm challenging myself to get out of my box and understand kind of like what I'm doing and how I can move in different ways. Again, like back on that topic, it's getting me engulfed in the community 10 times more because I'm participating and people are being able to watch me, and I'm able to analyze other people. And then like being in like sports, I was in competitive dance growing up, like that was a big thing for me. And so being able to kind of compete again, like it's definitely really cool to feel like I'm like back in that atmosphere, and it, for whatever reason, I just really enjoy it. And like I like being able to showcase myself, and I like challenging myself, and I like not necessarily knowing who I'm going to go against, like it makes you think outside of the box and really fast, and it puts you on your toes, and it's super fun, and I just have a good time doing it. And I feel like it amps me up in a way that just freestyling doesn't, because it puts you in front of somebody else and you're like, whoa, how can I work with this? How can I work around what they're doing? How can I play around with the music? How can I play around with what they're doing to me? Like it's, you
Call
have
and
to,
response.
like it's very like fast paced, and it's super cool. And I feel like I almost black out sometimes when like I'm battling, but like it just, you never know what you're going to get. And like, it challenges you a lot. And I feel like everyone should just kind of battle every so often. Like, it's not about like, oh, like, I don't like you, I'm going to battle you,
A diss
like,
or a one-up.
no, it's not like that. It's like, I feel like genuinely it is like to challenge each other in like a mental way more than like, I don't like you, I'm going to like show you up, And like, I feel like in a lot of different dance communities, like it can get to that way. Like break dancing is like a lot like that for like b-boy battles and stuff like that, and crumping, and like it's like very in their face. And for us, I feel like it's in your face in a way, but like it's also not. It's also creativity, it's also musicality, it's also like messing around, like seeing how authentic you can actually get. And that's always intrigued me. And I feel like it also is a thing for me because my dad battled with breakdancing, and so like it's really
in your blood.
Yeah, like it's really cool because like I feel like I'm connecting to like my lineage in a way too, like just through him and seeing what he did growing up, and now I'm doing that, and like being able to get tips from him, and like sitting down and watching videos of like different styles of dance battling, and like him talking about his experiences and what he's seen, when like just really challenging myself to learn and develop new ways of like using my movement, using my space, using the crowd, using my partner, enemy, adversary, like using all of those aspects, and like what can I do? So
it's like a creative outlet for you, among the other things. You know, obviously you're there with the homies, and you're even connecting with the person who's across from you and that you're battling. If anything, that's probably the person you're connecting with the most. You are analyzing them, and they are analyzing you, and you're sharing that moment together. And it's probably on film, and it's probably something that you can reminisce about after the fact too.
It's so funny because like Emeka and I when we were like goofing around, he's like, you want to battle? I was like, yeah, I want to battle. So we've been battling all the time recently. And so it's just fun too. Like, okay, like I'm watching you throw this move. How can I take that move and throw it back at you? Like
or make fun of
it.
Or
make fun of that move, or make fun of something you do, like, but just like playfully. And it just becomes a really cool tool to have in your pocket and be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can battle.
I would encourage the listeners in that similar or in that what you just described about your relationship with Emeka, and he's just kind of like your battle buddy. I would encourage listeners to get your own battle buddy, someone
Battle
that you
buddies
can,
for life.
Yeah, for real, for real. That's funny. That's a military term,
Yeah, oh my
actually,
God, I'm dead.
and it's even more funny because Mario is my battle buddy.
Oh my God.
And we were both in the Marine Corps, so it's funny that we're battle buddies. But I can always call on him to battle. You know what I mean? I can always be like, we're doing this, you know, and he's like, fuck. Okay. Yeah,
we're doing it.
But sometimes he's coming to me too, and he's like, we're battling, like that sort of thing. And it's so fun. It's fun to do it in different environments, at festivals, even at meetups, things like that. It's good practice to have that creative outlet of, you're not just freestyling anymore and you're picking the moves. You're basing it off of some kind of example, however you want to perceive that example, and what ammo it's giving you, and then you need to be able to act on it as well. And I think that connection between realizing something, it's not, something that someone's giving you, and then acting on it gets stronger and stronger as you get your repetitions in. So it's very much a mental exercise that you can continue to go through. And to your point earlier, it's like there's uncertainty involved with it because you don't know what they're going to throw out. You don't know what the music's going to be. You don't know a lot of these variables, and you have to piece them together in a very short period of time and come up with something in the back of your head, and then, like I said, act on it as well. So it's like this mental jujitsu that you have to do with yourself. And I think we become better shufflers because of it, you know?
Yeah.
And not everyone's into battling, and that's totally cool. But for, just on a very basic level, I think it's a good exercise to have in your back pocket when maybe you're in a plateau, or maybe you just feel stagnant in your dancing. It's something that you can kind of play with, and also if you have a battle buddy, it's kind of accountability. You know what I mean? It's accountability because if they call you out, you kind of have to do it, even if you don't want to.
I gotta battle you. I don't feel like it. Yeah, no, for real though, it definitely challenges you and puts you in not a box.
Yeah.
You are free reign at that point. Like,
straight up,
you got to think real quick.
Yeah. Think on those toes.
Yeah, right. I feel like battling was kind of like my push back into the community as of late, because we did those were pretty back to back. I mean, the Techno Collective was in August, and then the MHS was in October.
The Techno Collective was
September because it was ARC weekend.
And that was so funny when I saw you doing that.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see her ARC. I was like, where? I was looking for you. I was like, where is she?
She's
around here
I know
somewhere.
a bunch of people asked about that.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Adriana actually said something the other day because she was like, I thought I was going to meet you when you were there. And I was like, no. I was visiting home and dealing with all that chaos, and just took a little breather. I tried to go actually for one day, and then wasn't able to secure my way back home because I would have been screwed getting a flight back to Denver. But yeah, it's going to be this year, though. I'm going to go this year. It's going to be a good time.
Do it.
Yeah.
Sounded that. No, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to watch you dance again. It was fun watching you at the Kill Off as well.
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was a lot. There were some killers there.
It was in the midst of everything going on. And I remember showing up and I was like, guys, I just got broken up with literally last week. And so I was not in the good headspace at all. Just everything was just falling apart, and I was like, I'm still gonna battle. And I did, and I got through for a few rounds.
Yeah.
And
you could have fooled a lot of people.
Yeah.
You fooled me.
Yeah, I was definitely struggling that day, but I told myself, I was like, I know that I want to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it. No matter what I'm feeling, I know that this is going to bring me back to myself. And even if I don't succeed, even if I don't get to the end, it still meant something for me at the end of the day. And I feel like that's always how it's been with like battling too. It's like, it's just for myself, and like it's for the curation of something new within myself. And I always come out stronger. I always learn something from it, and it's just take it with a grain of salt, honestly. Like it doesn't have to be all serious, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's why I like the battle community within shuffling a lot. It's because it's not all serious, but it can be if you want it to be.
Yeah.
But
You can add your own level of intensity
Yeah.
to it. But at the end of the day, it's a choose your own adventure type thing. You
Exactly.
know? People are going to be stoked that you're there just in general. And,
Yeah.
you know, they're always a lot of fun. Like in between rounds and stuff like that. Like the little ciphers that happen on the sides, and people jump into the ring, and we're just session and dancing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's not too serious. I don't think so. You know, except when the finals hit.
yeah.
And it's all
everyone's
eyes.
freaking out. Yeah.
No, very cool, very cool. It's cool to describe for you to describe kind of like how battling has played a part in your shuffle journey and your growth, and a stronger connection with the community itself, but also within yourself, and how it's helped you in some tough times. And it's been amazing speaking to you. We could probably sit here all day.
I know, right?
And have this.
I'm a talker.
Yeah. So am I. Like, you know, you get us together, and it's just like we yap away.
Yeah, right.
hopefully it's some good stuff. Hopefully, you know, there's some I think there's some profound things, you know, within that, and we've talked about a lot of things, like I said, that will resonate with the audience, and hopefully in this next segment it will bring out a little bit more. So this is the world famous Final Five.
World famous. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. It's actually angels singing right now. Yep. But these are that was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful.
I wasn't doing my best, but it's fine.
We'll give you another shot. Here, go do it.
No, I don't want to do it.
Okay.
You can't put me on the spot like that.
I understand. It has to be organic. This is the 5 questions that I ask every guest.
Okay.
And so let's see what your response is and how they line up with the other guests, and what you come up with. So the first question is, what is your favorite musical genre?
Ooh. I feel like I have bounced around to so many different ones, especially recently. Coming back to shuffling and just like being immersed in it again. Like, I feel like I listen to trance the most in my spare time. I dance the hardest to techno and psytrance.
Let's go.
I'm a big psy gal. I can spend hours. It's like live psy is like, that's my thing.
It's a whack.
It's got a whack.
It's a whack.
Oh.
Like listening to psytrance live with that kind of bass or whatever. It is absolutely out of this world. I feel like I'm being abducted by like aliens.
Yeah, no, it really. Like at EDC, I sat at the psytrance stage with my like coat on and a freaking like Corona in my hand, just like going. I was like, yes!
Yeah, that like gallop.
Yeah, like it's like you just, I guess, had to keep getting up and dancing. Like you just like feel compelled. Like I'm under a trance. Like literally.
Yep.
I'm psytrance.
Psytrance is a mental trance.
Mental trance.
Yeah.
Literally.
Straight up.
It's crazy. Like I feel like I definitely have the most fun at psytrance events dancing. But yeah, I think techno and psy are probably like my favorate live for sure. And then I do love progressive house a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people in progressive house. But
House is good stuff. We're going to see, are you going to Boris, Brescia?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll be there
Of course
too.
I am.
Yes. That's going to be sick. He never fails. And he'll throw techno into his progressive house too. And it's always a treat. I love seeing him.
I love him.
Next, what is your favorite place to dance?
Cheeseman Park. Just kidding. I just had to throw that out. But yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
the floors are freaking phenomenal. I feel like almost everyone that's here that's probably been on your podcast has probably said that.
Some people don't name a location though.
Really?
They'll name like an environment or
Okay.
something like that. They'll say like a festival and things like that. But there's a very large handful of people who have just said Cheeseman.
Yeah.
You know, because it's good.
The
It's got
floors,
sentiment to it
the
too.
floors, the sentiment, the experiences I've had, the memories
Yep.
I've had there, like you can't beat it. You really can't. But like I feel like I love dancing just with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that environment, just with my pals, like being able to like be goofy and dance around with my friends is like so important to me. And like I feel like I make the most headway labbing just like in that environment, especially with like Emeka and Kaya. Like I'm whenever we're together and like able to just like move our bodies however we feel fit and then goof around and then battle and then lab more. Like it's just like we kind of get the best of all worlds there, you know.
That trio is dangerous.
It's the best. We didn't see it coming, but here it is. Here we are.
No, all you guys are good for each other, for sure. I can see the juices flowing and the creativity, you know, going in any which direction. When
Yeah.
all you guys are just doing your thing,
Yeah.
you know. It seems effortless. It literally seems effortless when you guys are collabing with each other or just messing around, bullshitting. It's actually really awesome to see.
We love that.
Next question for you. What is your favorite set, show, or festival?
So,
So,
Eric Prydz at EDC.
okay.
Favorite set, probably of all time.
What stage was that at?
I can't remember.
Was that this past year?
Yeah. So many people didn't go.
I didn't go. Yeah.
So many people
Was
missed
It
it.
was probably was it Neon?
I was
Green?
with Jolie, and I had never seen Prydz, and she is a huge Prydz fan.
Got it.
Yeah, like huge. And she's like, my whole group's out there, like, because there's like a whole group that like travels and sees him, and they always record his sets. And my mom and I had like talked about Prydz like recently because she had seen him. She actually went to dinner with him when I don't know if she's in Miami or not, but she and her roommate were out to dinner with him, and that was the whole situation too. And so like I always wanted to see him after that because she was so ignited by like how talented he is. Like he literally is a musical genius, like with what he does and how he curates his shows, and like everything that he does is his, and he's literally made sounds that have impacted the EDM community and just music in general. Like the Pride of Snare, like that's his. It's in a lot of songs, and like hearing that live and like actually like knowing like, whoa, like that one little noise has impacted so many other DJs
like a
and producers.
pioneer of some
It's
sort.
crazy. And like, so seeing him just on its own was something I'd always wanted to do, and that was the first time and only time I've seen him. And it was crazy because Jolie, like being with her made it that much more impactful because she was like, you're gonna enjoy this so much. Like she's with all the people that have seen him, they were all so excited, and they told me like put my phone down because I got my phone out as soon as he came out. I was like, I need to remember this, and like they're like, nope, just put your phone away. And I was like, okay. And I did. And I have never been, I'm not on my phone all the time at shows. I literally just lost my phone at Skyline. Like I'm not on my phone usually. And for whatever reason, that set, being fully engulfed in it, did something to me because I haven't been moved that much by music in a very, 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 very long time. And so that set in particular, for whatever reason it was, just did something to me. And so, yeah, that's definitely my favorite set, at least like in the genres like that I can like shuffle to and stuff. So
Got it. Yeah, that's interesting that a set rewired your brain a little
It
bit.
did.
You know, and there's something to be said about Obviously, it's a give and a take with the phone, because it's like it allows you to have a snippet of that experience that perhaps you can look back on, and then there's more recall that occurs from that event. But also, you are very much describing this event as if you were there, you know? So like you were very present with it, and it had an impact on you, even though you didn't necessarily record it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, everything's recorded these days too.
I can go find it.
Yeah, you can go find it. Maybe you can have that recall that maybe you don't have right now. But just by you deciding to be very present with the music in that moment, you had this experience.
Yeah.
And maybe it wouldn't have had as impactful of an experience if you were fidgeting with some kind of device or
like trying to
preoccupied.
get the focus on.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm very, very happy I didn't record that set, because it would have been impactful still, but like it really just did something to me and just connected me back with my community and my friends too, and just like being fully conscious of the art that he creates just within itself, like seeing that in full. I wouldn't have had it any other way at all.
And you're experiencing it with your buddy.
Yeah.
You know? And shout out to Jolie for telling you to put the phone away and stuff like that.
Literally, it was just like, dang, okay, fine, I'll do it.
Yes, ma'am. Awesome. Next question. What is your favorite book?
The Power of Now.
Power of Now. Okay. And why is that meaningful to you?
Because the way that book is set up is to reflect. So it's not necessarily a book that you read in full, like over the course of time. Like it's something they have these little points throughout the book, these little like figures after certain phrases or certain things that they're reflecting on. It's a self-help, like very spiritual book. But they'll put these little like pictures of this like little wiggle thing and it's signaling you to stop and reflect on what you read.
Okay.
And there's so many times I've been reading that book where because I haven't finished it still, and this is my favorite book. It's like I will sit and reflect on that one phrase for like a week and just be like, wow, like that, I needed to know that in that moment. Like that was meant for me. And like it's helped kind of like rewire my brain of just like consciousness and being aware and being okay with humanity and just little things we go through, or just understanding perspectives about things that I wouldn't have had without reflecting on it. It's in itself. So it's definitely my favorite one.
Yeah, and that's cool, because I think there's some kind of stat out there where it's like when you read a book, you retain 10% or you retain 15% or a very minuscule amount of the actual content from that book. And so I feel like I don't know the author, but you know, that's a very he probably anticipated that you'll get more out of the book if you're following his timeline in which he wants you to read the book. You know, stop, pause, think about this for this amount of time, and then you know you'll be more primed and ready to go for the next section. So you know, I would love to see if people derive more value out of it because they're retaining more from the book, and it's more of a slow process of integrating the lessons from that book versus a self-help book that you could cram into 3 days. And you know, you could find the nuggets here and there, but some of the things that they might have gone over, you might have glossed over because you were on a time crunch to get it done, and you weren't able to implement it in your life. Whereas like this book, you're more mindful about each lesson that is being imparted on you. I think that's really cool. It's a cool way to write a book and then to read a book too.
It's amazing.
You know?
I feel like everybody should read at least a portion of that book. Like I think it is so impactful, and everybody that I know that has read it has said the same thing. And that's just me being biased. But like it's like it really is like if you are really into self-reflection and perception and understanding of our minds and how they work, and just understanding of just being a person, a vessel, having this vessel that we have, like it would probably be a good read for you. So
Amazing. Amazing. This brings us to our last question. So, the question I have for you is, if you could put any message on the main stage production of a large festival, think Tomorrowland or EDC Las Vegas, what would that message say? Tens of thousands of people will be viewing it.
Take care of your friends. Make sure they're okay. Anything just reminding you that you're not alone, and that there's always somebody out there that will have an ear for you, even if you don't think so. And if you need help, please call the suicide hotline. And there's so many sources of therapy and just help out there in general. So you don't have to be alone going through absolutely anything. And just know that I love you. If no one's told you today, I do.
And I love you too. And I love you too.
I love you too.
I love you.
I love you.
But in all seriousness, yeah, I think that's a very good blanket statement of just taking care of your friends, because sometimes you don't know what your friends are going through. So, like I said, like towards the middle of the podcast, some people just suffer in silence. Like, that is who they are. Maybe they feel like they're a burden when they voice their woes and their issues and the things that they're struggling with. So it sometimes takes people being proactive with their friends to check in on them, and family, and everyone that you care about. Even if someone seems like they're on the up and up, it never hurt anyone to just have that check in. So I think that would be a very meaningful message to put up there. And there might be people at that festival, that large festival, that need to go check on their friends, and it's a good reminder. So I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
So we are going to wrap up, but before we get out of here, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners? Don't let me put you on the spot.
I don't think so. I think a lot of what I've said has been impactful. I know it within myself, and just know that we're all here to support each other and uplift each other as much as possible, and that like your journey doesn't have to be linear. It's never gonna be linear, and to just keep going when you feel like you want to give up. And that's with anything, not just shuffling, but you're always gonna have a community somewhere, and just keep your head up. That'd be my last statement, I think.
Absolutely. And I love that. And I do want to thank you for I have had people on who have talked about, I wouldn't say tiptoed around, but talked a little bit about some mental health awareness. But you really kind of dug deep into that, and were very vulnerable, like I had mentioned. And I just want to applaud you one more time for that. How you were able to just kind of open up to a larger audience, and to me. I really do appreciate it, and I thank you for sharing that with us. And with that, I've mentioned a couple times, like, this is probably, you're going to touch a lot of people with this conversation, especially in those periods of time where we were talking about a little bit more touchy subjects, especially that people don't always hear about, and a lot of people might feel inclined to reach out to you. So what is the best way for people to do that?
Probably Instagram. Just send me a DM. I usually answer. If I don't see it, it's not because I'm ignoring you.
Send to.
Yeah. Like, literally, I will try to get back to people as much as possible. And if absolutely anyone needs to talk about anything, if, like, any of what I said, like, inspired you to, like, want to talk to somebody, like, I always have an ear. And I love to listen and be there for other like-minded people that may be going through things and feel alone, because I've been there and I understand. So definitely just shoot me a DM.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. She's not shy.
I'm not shy at all.
Ariah, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on. I am going to miss the hell out of you. I hope you know.
Let's not talk about it.
If we don't talk about it, it won't happen.
Exactly. I'm still here.
Who gave you permission?
Just like put a picture of me on the wall.
And also, I know the fam will miss you too. And I do wish you the best in your endeavors and in your journey. And like I said, I just want to circle back around to the beginning. You always have a place here, and you'll always have a nest here. And so never feel like you're a stranger. It would be amazing.
Leaving the nest, Mom. I'm scared.
We would love to have you come back. And hell, I'll be traveling for this. So, get the couch ready.
Yeah, it's ready. It's already ready. It's not up yet, but it's there.
Amazing. Well, we have a show that we have to get to here soon. So we're going to wrap up. But like I said, thank you so much. And look forward to spending some more time with you before you get out of here. Love you, girl.
Love you too.
Thank you for listening to the Shuffle Curious podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. We are past the launch, and I'm so appreciative of the support that the show has received. You guys have really stepped up in a huge way, and I'm eternally grateful for that. I know this is a big ask due to the show just starting, and it's very much in its infancy, but any and all support would really be amazing from you guys. So I just wanted to come on and list a couple ways that you guys can help out the podcast moving forward. So first and foremost, subscribing to the YouTube channel would be a huge help. Also sharing and following the show on other social media platforms, such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but in particular, YouTube will really help increase the visibility of the show, and it can help to reach a wider audience as well. In addition to this, leaving a review on anywhere where podcasts are distributed, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, can really leave a positive impression on new listeners, and it will help them discover the podcast more readily. Also, engaging with the podcast, so leaving comments, participating in social media discussions, and just anything that would really help build a community around the podcast would be of great assistance. And please feel free, DM me my personal Instagram at Patty Creates, or the show's Instagram at the Shuffle Curious podcast, with the spaces being underscores. I would love to hear any feedback, any ideas, any discourse around the show. It would be an honor to hear you guys out and implement some of the ideas and the feedback that you guys have for me. Also, donating to the podcast directly or purchasing a Shuffle Curious shirt would help out a lot. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of energy, and unfortunately money that goes into the podcast, and it will continue to go into the podcast. So let's just get one thing straight here. It's really been a complete joy doing the show, and no matter how much or how little monetary assistance the show receives, we'll still be performing the mission of bringing the Shuffle community together. But with a little bit of help, I'll be able to travel more for these interviews, buy better equipment, be able to compensate all the amazing people who have made the show a reality and have volunteered their time, things of that nature. So buying a shirt would be much more than buying a shirt. And I don't know if you guys realize, but if I ever saw someone at a festival wearing a Shuffle Curious podcast shirt, you would be my best friend in a huge way. I'd love to see it, and I'd give you a big bear hug. So you can purchase these shirts on the Instagram bio of the show, also the show's website, and then I'll have links in the show notes as well. As for the donation, just please, send me a DM if you feel inclined to donate to the show. I will definitely entertain that, and if you're so inclined, that would be absolutely amazing. I'm not going to create a button for donating to the show or GoFundMe or anything like that. It would just be a conversation between you and I. So, and I thank you for that consideration. But lastly, you guys have supported the show just by listening. Also, listening to this whole outro, that's awesome. You guys rule for doing that. And I just cannot understate my appreciation for all of you guys for being a part of this crazy ride that it's been so far. So without further ado, like I said, I wanted to get on. I'll give you guys a couple of ways that you can support. You can run with as many or as little of them as you would like. But I thank you, regardless for your listenership and support. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. Please get out there and dance, stay curious, and I will see you in the next episode, friend.